Hello, I'm Kat and this is 10 minutes long, and in this video I'm going to show you the part of the window project where I painted it. I was going to do painting and sealing, but it honestly just took the longest amount of time to do. This video is kind of like hours worth of work compressed into 10 minutes. So on this first part you can see that I'm just putting masking tape everywhere. I'm not generally a masking tape kind of gal, but that was before, when it was other people's houses I was painting, or just having to do like little bits here and there in like a rented house. This being like my house, I kind of feel like I want to do a proper job. So the first thing I did was mask up the window. So the masking tape has gone onto the actual window and now it's going around the window frame. This is so that I can kind of paint without getting paint everywhere. At least that's the idea. Whether that actually works or not is something at this stage I actually wasn't sure if it would. But it was easy enough to do anyway. So now it's all masked up, I can get to painting. And before I started painting properly, I just kind of like whacked some paint on because I just wanted to see that the paint would give me like good coverage, because it was kind of old paint. Not like super old, but I didn't buy this paint specifically for this project. The reason being that this is more of just like a refresh, just because it had damp on it. I felt like it was something I wanted to get done, just because, it's a window, there's going to be a lot of temperature changes. So I wanted to just kind of sort it out really. This is probably going to be the last room that's decorated, so this was to just kind of refresh this before it gets done properly. That's why I kind of didn't care too much if it went super wrong. But here you can see that I'm using a small brush to do what is called cutting in, I think, which is kind of when you just like paint close to the window and close to the edges using a smaller brush. And that then you use that smaller brush to do like the outside bits first, and then you can use a bigger brush to fill in the bigger spaces. So that's what I was doing there with that tiny brush. The lid of the paint can was in my hand the whole time, not quite sure why, but there it was anyway. And then I switched over to the big brush and just started whacking it on. I was using bathroom paint in a white colour just because I felt like it was more flexible, so it would be able to take like a change in temperature and things like that. And as I said, at this stage I was just looking to really refresh it rather than kind of have it to look perfect. But even so, I was quite happy that it was going on well, and seemed to be giving me quite good coverage at that stage. So as you can see, it's just like it kind of doesn't look like much because it's just me painting, and this is like why this video is so long, because this is at like 600 speed, so it took just like such a long time. It was really, really satisfying though to finally be painting this, because it has been bugging me since we moved in. The fact that it was mouldy, that it wasn't sealed at all, and you can tell that I really did kind of like go to town making sure that it was all clean first, and making sure that the mould was treated, putting masking tape up. So yeah, I do feel like I'm actually doing stuff properly, because I've like done painting before and things in flats where I've lived, but generally speaking it's like because some paint has come off on the wall, or because it's peeling, or because I don't know, it's gotten too dirty and the landlord won't do anything about it or something. And like when that happens, you kind of, you don't really take care of it. You just kind of just whack it on and hope for the best, because it's not your property. It's not really something you're that invested in. You just kind of, you just do it just for the sake of kind of not living with a horrible bit of peeled off paint or something like that. Whereas here it's kind of like this is my office, so I spend quite a lot of time here, and I chill out in this space first thing in the morning as well. So I just thought it would be nice to refresh it, to get rid of that mould. And yeah, like I say, it's probably not going to be white forever, and when I do decorate this room, the window will obviously be a part of that. But for now, it was just really nice to paint over that old yellow, because you can see how yellow it is. Like as I'm painting the outside, you can see that the frame is like still quite yellow, so like it hasn't been painted for quite a long time. So yeah, it was really nice to be finally doing that. Something really weird about watching yourself work, but there we go. So yeah, just I painted the entire outside of the frame, and then I decided to paint around the edge as well. The edge was actually already red, so the previous owner had decided not to paint the outside of it, but I kind of thought, well, if he's going to be just plonked on the wall, it kind of feels nice to have the outside of it done as well. And then the very satisfying bit of peeling off the masking tape, and this is the point where you realise that having the masking tape was a good thing, because I actually did get quite a bit of paint on it, and despite the masking tape, still some ended up on the wall anyway, as you can probably. So at this stage you might be thinking, yeah, well, coat of paint, that's great, all done, but you'd be wrong. So the coat of paint that I gave it was fine, and the coverage actually wasn't that bad. Like, it was pretty good coverage for one coat, but because the paint was kind of old, and because I used a paintbrush rather than a roller, it looked really like homemade, if you know what I mean. Just like the paint just dried really, really liney, and it kind of made me wish that I'd used a roller, and it kind of didn't quite cover where the damp had been. Like the kind of stain came through, so I wanted to give it another coat, so that's what I did. For this I used a roller, and it was like a tiny old roller that I had left over from a project that I did like yonks ago when I painted my table. I didn't even have a proper roller tray, so I was just using a little bit of plastic again from this old project that I did when I really, really didn't care about what I was doing. Because I was keen to just do like a quick overcoat, thinking that maybe I could mask some of the texture, you know, some of the lines that were in the application. I didn't put up masking tape, and as you can see, that was slightly problematic, because then I actually did end up getting paint on the walls. So considering I was so careful the first time around, and then I just came in afterwards just like, nope, just gonna do a quick top coat, and then obviously like messed it up a little bit. So spoiler alert, using the roller didn't really change anything about the texture at all. That kind of made the inside of the window kind of nice, you know, a nicer texture, but it didn't really help on the outside at all. But I did put quite a lot more paint on the inside bit. As you can see, I also got some on the carpet, so just to show you, like, if you get paint on the carpet, clean it off like as soon as you possibly can, because yeah, it's not good. So now that we're 2 coats of paint down, it is time to put on the sealant. Part of me kind of thinks I should have done this before, part of me thinks it was fine that it happened afterwards. I'm still kind of like, the jury's still out on that one. But before we can seal it, I'm masking it up again. So I've not really done much with sealant previously. My sole experience was that I bought a skeleton gun to use some silicone on the bottom of my rugs to stop them slipping about, because I bought some rugs that were like dead slippy, so I thought put some silicone on them and that'll stop them slipping about. That's like my sole experience with sealant. So I've read up about it, and it kind of says that you should mask up the area that you're going to seal, especially if you're new to using sealant. So you put masking tape on like just a couple of millimeters away from the area that you're going to seal on both sides. So you're just kind of leaving yourself a gap in which to put the sealant, and then you take the masking tape off afterwards, and you're kind of left with a nice line, so you're not kind of ending up with like you know, sealant going everywhere, or like it being wider in some places than others. So I'm not sure that it's fully clear in the video what's going on here, but you can see that I am actually, or maybe you can't see, I don't know. What I'm trying to show you is that I'm leaving about like 1 or 2 millimeters between the masking tape and the edge of the wall on this window bit, which is why this is kind of taking longer than when I first masked it up. So yeah, it was kind of a little bit nerve-wracking because obviously with it just having been painted, I did wait a good couple of days before I did this because I didn't want to risk taking off any of the new paint. But yeah, this is basically the end of this section of videos, getting the window ready to have masking tape put on it. So join us next time, or join me next time, when you'll see me putting the sealant on and finally getting the project finished off, hopefully, or maybe not, who knows. Tune in to find out, I suppose.